Hi, my name is Sarah Bryant, and this week I will be discussing the communication problem within my organization and workplace. The problem that I identified within my workplace is that clinical nursing ladders should be changed. Clinical nursing ladders are supposed to provide nurses with a chance to progress within the organization. The clinical ladder focuses on nurses achieving higher education combined with specific contributions to achieve career progression. But because of workplace stress and demands and the limited time nurses have to further their education or devote to workplace contributions, they may not be able to progress within the organization. As a result, nurses may leave the organization and perpetuate the issue of retention within the organization. Why this is a problem. First, because nurses do not get rewarded for staying with an organization. For example, even though they may have 2, 3, 5 years in service, they only get raises based off of their yearly performance review, not based off their tenure with the organization. Additionally, within the nursing career ladders, the pay raises are often inadequate. For example, within the current organization I work with, for achieving the next level of your nursing ladder results in a 2% increase. This increase would be approximately only $1,000 a year for most nurses who are at the entry level of about $28 per hour. Additionally, this perpetuates the revolving door phenomenon. Essentially, because nurses are dissatisfied with their pay and with their growth at work, they often seek another organization to achieve better pay or growth, like travel nursing. As a result, the nurse leaves, and then the organization has to find a new nurse and provide the training and money to train that new nurse. Within the problem, I identified several goals, which I have ranked here, that I find important to achieving a solution. The first would be the balance between clinical ladders, expectations, and the competing demands of the nursing shift. The second would be for a fair wage increase for each level of the pay progression. And the third would be less focused on contributions, certifications, and higher education. Within these goals, I found 4 different solutions that may help achieve these goals. The first one is to increase pay raise. The first one would be to simply keep the clinical clear ladders as is and increase the pay percentage. This solution requires little revision by the organization, but requires the organization to dig a little deeper in its pockets. A second solution would be to revise the clinical ladder requirements completely. Clinical ladder requirements could drop the need for a contribution and certification or higher education, and instead the clinical ladder could simply reward nurses for their time in service. I.e., if a nurse achieves 1 year within the organization, they will achieve a 2% raise, 5 years a 4% raise, and so on. A third solution would be to keep the clinical ladders as is, but improve the opportunities surrounding the contributions and certifications. For example, current organizations ask nurses to discover and achieve these contributions on their own with little guidance or assistance. Organizations could take more ownership in this process and offer more flexible work schedules and accommodate educational pursuits and other financial assistance or scholarships for continuing education. Finally, a fourth solution to clinical ladders would be to include a partial revision of the contributions. For example, they would recognize a broader range of contributions beyond traditional research or publication requirements, which could entice nurses to complete the contribution and thus fulfill the clinical ladder to achieve career progression. I find that the best solution in regards to clinical nursing ladders would be a combination of solution 3 and 4. By doing a combination solution, it makes the clinical ladder more of a partnership in the organization, as well as broaden the requirements needed to achieve a fair raise. In making the clinical ladder more of a partnership, nurses may actually understand the requirements needed to progress and be more likely to achieve them by being afforded more flexible schedules. In broadening the requirements necessary to achieve progression, nurses may actually be more likely to attain them. Through the revision of the clinical ladder, the organization would win because they are able to retain nurses and nurture a more professional workforce. And the individual nurse wins because they feel more rewarded for growth and development at work. Ultimately, this solution would help tailor the needs of the clinical ladder and the needs, values, assumptions, conventions, and expectations of the community, as we saw in our handout with Olson. By better addressing, when he spoke about discourse, by better addressing the clinical ladder to the needs of the nursing community instead of the needs of the organization may find more success with their retention. Thank you.